Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of OLA This Week. I'm Mr. Love.
And I'm Mr. Vidal.
And we have a very special guest with us today. She is Laurie Power, who is our Associate Superintendent for the Catholic School Department of the Diocese of Sacramento. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're so happy you could join us.
Thank you.
So, thank you again for joining us, Laurie. First question, please tell us about yourself and your role as Associate Superintendent.
Okay, well, I am completely Catholic educated from kindergarten all the way through college, as is my husband, as are our three children. I've been a teacher and a principal and Associate Superintendent for our diocese. I'm in my 30th year, actually, so this is a big milestone. It's been an incredible experience, and I've loved every moment of it. So that's what's led me here to being an Associate Superintendent.
And I know you were teaching over at Holy Spirit in Fairfield, correct?
Yeah, we raised our children in Fairfield. So
Okay.
I was teaching there and vice principal there, and then I came to St. Francis Elementary in Midtown to be the principal. So I commuted for 3 years back and forth, and then we finally moved here to Sacramento. So.
All right. Well, thank you. And you may notice that in the background we have our kindergartners at recess, so they're joining us today on the show. Laurie, what are some things that the diocese and the Catholic School Department do for our schools?
Oh gosh, you know what? I've been thinking a lot about that because I get asked that question a lot, and it's kind of like asking a parent, what do you do for your kids? Like, there's so much you don't even know where to begin. But our objective is to be the support and an advocate for our schools, to make sure that there's strong Catholic identity, to make sure that our schools have excellent academic rigor, to make sure we support our principals. Our principals are just amazing, and our vice principals, amazing stewards of our church, and they are going through so much and having such a difficult time, especially the last 2 years. So we just are advocates. We make sure that we push forward some initiatives that are really important to our schools to maintain that academic excellence and of course our faith. And we just kind of do everything we possibly can to keep our schools sustainable.
So the Catholic means universal. We're the universal church, and so a lot of times we have events where teachers from different schools get together, and that's kind of a unifying experience, I think. So, for example, we have ministry days coming up shortly, and so it's those kind of events that the Catholic School Department puts on that I think that supports us as teachers and administrators at our local schools to feel like we're a part of something bigger, to feel that greater connection to the church. So we really do appreciate all that you do.
Oh, well, thank you, and absolutely. And we have our clusters. We have our geographic clusters of schools where we've allowed that opportunity just to get traction over the past few years. So our principals are more tightly cohesive, as well as our teachers get to work with grade level peers, which they don't in a typical school. So we do whatever we can to facilitate the continuation of our incredible Catholic schools.
And there are strength in numbers, right?
For sure, for sure, yes.
Can you tell us how Bishop Soto supports our schools?
So we are so blessed to have Bishop Soto. He is such an advocate for our schools. He does so much for us. I don't think a lot of people realize, but he offers a lot of financial assistance to many of our schools, or else they wouldn't be here. So he does that. He's an incredible spiritual steward for our schools. Last year, he was so appreciative of what our teachers and principals were doing that he called us together and he asked, what can I do more for our teachers? Because he knew what our teachers were going through last year. And when we suggested maybe a couple extra days off, possibly at Easter vacation, he said, well, that's so far off, I really want to do something now. And we were like, no, that's good. If they know that that's happening in 4 months, they're going to be good with that. So he immediately agreed to that, thought that was a great idea. And he was just, he put together some videos to support our teachers, also recognizing them and our principals. And he's a product of Catholic education, so he is always supportive of everything we do.
I think a lot of times the bishop is busy with so many things that people don't understand what a supporter he is of our schools in this ministry across the diocese. So thank you for explaining that. Yeah. In your opinion, what makes Catholic education a treasure?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. Catholic education builds the moral foundation for our kids and our families. I mean, we have so many families that come through Catholic schools with their children who learn along the way as well and become better better Catholics because of that. Of course, we have the rigor and the academic excellence, but most importantly, I think it's just the faith that permeates our schools, the faith that is embedded throughout our days. It's not just a religion class, it's all day long. It's in our behaviors, it's in our consequences of the behaviors, it's everything. So I think that's one of the strong points. I also think, or I know that just the community of family is so important. When I chair accreditations outside our dioceses, and we meet with parents always as part of the accreditation process, every single school I've chaired in many different dioceses, the parents always act like they have found the special sauce. They're like, our school is just an incredible family through thick and thin, we're just an incredible community, on and on and on and on. And I always, in the back of my mind, think, that's Catholic education, it's not just your school. I would never say that, of course, but it's
right.
Just, that's part of the beauty of Catholic education.
Yes.
So, and then another thing, I had a parent once who was a public school principal, and his wife was a public school teacher, and they were enrolling their child for kindergarten when I was principal. And I said, I'm so grateful to have you here, because they were parishioner. I said, but why are you choosing Catholic school instead of a public education? And he said, because we want our daughter to experience our home when she leaves the car in the morning and as she gets in the car in the afternoon. We want her to be part of what we as a family expect, and we mold her all together. And I thought that was just really beautiful, that it's like it's continuous. And he saw the significance of that. That's why they were putting her in Catholic school, that he wanted that 24-hour a day Catholic faith supporting her. So I've never forgotten it. That was about 15 years ago that I heard that, and that really was powerful to me.
That's a great witness.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Final question. Can you please share with us the story of how our Catholic schools received a Miraculous Medal for each student?
Yeah, so this is a great story. So about 2 years ago, so pre-COVID, everything's either pre or post-COVID, right? So pre-COVID, I had received a phone call from a retired doctor out of the Archdiocese of San Francisco, and he said that it was his mission before he passed that he wanted to make sure that there was a Miraculous Medal around every Catholic school student in California. So I explained to him, we have quite a number of students, and he said, it doesn't matter, this is my goal. So he ordered 18,000 medals for our diocese, Italian medals with chains, quite expensive, but he was such a generous donor. So he ordered them, they came in the springtime, right when COVID hit. They've been sitting in my office, boxes and boxes and boxes. And part of the process was we had to get together to assemble them to make sure that we had enough small ones for every school, K-3, and then large ones for 4-8, for all 35 of our elementary schools and our 5 high schools. So we did that in July. He came up, he actually drove up and was part of this assembly process. We got it all organized, and his name is Dr. Richard Mani, and he, like I said, is a retired doctor, and he just has a special connection and devotion to our Blessed Mother, and he just feels impelled to do it and called to do it. So we are so grateful for him that he did that for our students. And I think your students got them this morning, right?
Correct.
Yes, so it's a very special story, and so those of you listening, if you could say a special prayer for Dr. Mani, just in gratitude for what he's done for all of our kids, that would be great.
Thank you, and we're delighted. Our staff has been wearing them since the start of the school year, and this morning at our weekly Mass, they were given to the students before Mass, and then Father Edwino did a blessing of them during our Mass.
Beautiful.
So we'll see kids wearing these for the rest of this year and beyond.
Yes, and he gave us enough that we can, for like next year's kindergarten, he wanted to make sure that we had enough that we could keep like patting them along the way, or new students coming in, and he wanted to make sure we had an overabundance of them. So
wonderful.
Yeah, it's lovely, just lovely.
Thank you.
Well, we want to also give a special thank you to our wonderful producer, Mrs. Blanchfield. Thank you so much for setting this up today, and for Ms. Power for joining us. I also want to say thank you very much to our OLA parents. You guys have been phenomenal with doing at-home checking and protocols with your with your children, keeping them home, even if they have a slight sniffle or runny nose, and then also sending out that information in a quick phone call or email to your teachers. and our lovely Mrs. Edie up front. So thank you, OLA parents, for that. You guys have been phenomenal.
Yeah, we have had a lot of schools that have had entire classes shut down, or even schools shut down for a day or two because of the spread within the school. And the reason why we haven't had to do that is because the community here has been very responsive, as Mr. Vidal said, with the screening and with the constant communication. So we appreciate you. Well, Mr. Vidal,
Find the good.
and praise it. God bless.